Hello, everyone. So this is the third week, and like we've seen this week, there are a lot of things connected with the with how teens and this now generation is continuously being affected by technology. And my first was connected with Henry Flowers' video, which to me was very, very interesting. And really, I was very captured by you all's commentaries. Um, I differ a bit, but I'm going to start with the overgeneralization of his comments. I think that it was definitely so true. He did overgeneralize many things in how they lack spirit and how they lack work ethic, how they lack a bunch of things uh, that probably in the future will not help them develop their full potential in the workplace, for example. And I think that not only in the workplace, but even in life, it is very complicated because Mr. Flowers didn't really touch the aspect of, say, the yes parenting much. Uh, he had a very particular speech, and to some extent, he seemed he seemed very strict. His approach. Um, Maybe I don't necessarily agree with his approach 100%, and I questioned it. I questioned it myself. I even questioned the ending. I don't know 100% if it was planned or not. It didn't seem so. That was a very particular moment, I think. Now, there are many things that really I think are sort of say blurring here. Things are not so clear. Why he took this attitude, I don't know. It could have been part of his style. I cannot say one thing or the other 100% because I'm not there. I wasn't there, and I don't know what he's done with that class before and even afterwards. So what I want to get to is that uh, he did overgeneralize, as I said first. Maybe it wasn't the best way because he didn't take into consideration other different points like the yes parenting and even how other things, other factors have influenced children. But to be honest with you, I one thing I want to add about it is that I don't think that necessarily his approach was totally bad. In fact, honestly, to some extent, I do agree with his approach. And I agree with this approach because many kids in developed countries and even underdeveloped countries like the one here, they seem to have very similar attitudes nowadays with this growth of technological devices and them laying their hands on them, having that easy access to everything. So I think it could have been that he had coached or tried to coach this group of students before. It could be, I don't know, but I could assume it's a possibility. And he was probably rating their progress, and it seemed like there has been little progress based on his video. So I think that his style was not necessarily bad because maybe he could have been a bit disappointed about the situation, and he continues to see the disconnect and the lack of work ethic and the lack of integrity. And what I want to get at is that why I think his style was not necessarily bad is because nowadays I am in agreement. Maybe some of you will not agree with me, and that's fine. I'm open to listening to everyone, but I think that kids need a direct approach, behavioral learning, and sometimes they need something more strict, if you know what I mean. Sometimes he can talk to them in a nice way and use a communicative approach, uh, um, and getting stuff out of them. But maybe it doesn't work like that anymore, or it's not working because kids are not focused on what they have to be focused on. And I think that's what Henry uh, uh, derived. I think that what he has been observing. So I cannot totally blame him as an instructor myself. I cannot totally blame him for sometimes taking that approach. I had to take that approach myself, a similar approach when I was teaching some young children in Russia because they were very disobedient, and I tried following the book or a method, and it wasn't working. So I think that he was a bit strict, but in a way, I don't think it was totally bad. I think sometimes that sudden approach might, make them, click something in their mind. Sometimes they need a little bit of say a stronger approach to make them aware of what's really happening. Uh, on the other hand, I think it does start from home with the yes parenting primarily. I think it really starts there, and the lack of focus and attention parents have on their children. And we cannot blame it 100%. We cannot blame someone specifically because the work ethics have changed, and parents are really too busy nowadays. So it's really hard. um, that was really the first aha moment for me because it goes both ways, like the positive side and the negative side. So we don't know exactly what happened before that, and that's where I'm sort of inclined towards his approach, but not 100% necessarily. I'm going to give you an example. In Chile, when I used to live there, because I'm partially Chilean, a young girl was making love with her boyfriend. She was only 14. Her daddy caught her, practically kicked her out of the house. I don't know if he spanked her or not. And basically, in the end, she tried suing her dad. And honestly, that's really just bad. But it goes to show how much empowerment children and teens have nowadays. So a stricter approach may be necessary. And I think it's happening worldwide. I'm seeing it here as well. And kids are disrespecting their parents. My cousin has a kid who's, I think he's 12 now, and he's got 4 or 5 hours after school. He's not doing anything, and he's just stuck on his mobile video games. She's not encouraging him to read a book or do something perhaps more productive. So I understand Henry's approach. I really do. And I don't blame him to some extent. I think that uh, Dr. Ozit points out how on page 86 how these factors of high tech age filled with machines and gadgets make it easier for kids. So in other words, they're making them more lazy, and that's really where I can agree with Henry Flowers' approach. The second aha had to do with social skills and the whole relationship and dating with teens. It has really become an issue, and I understood the survey why parents are not aware. I know teens are not going to say all the truth, and it's quite evident for many reasons. One, because their gadgets will be taken away, and it's understandable. But I think again, it has to go back with parenting. If you think about it, and the way they're raising kids now, they're giving them all these facilities, and because they're so used to these facilities, these gadgets, and all this stuff, they are losing social skills. And the fact that they're losing social skills also means that it's affecting their self-esteem. I think that example in this week's material point is a good example with the young teenage girl, how she had, with her phone, she was very direct in expressing her feelings towards her boyfriend, but when she was face to face with her boyfriend, it was a total different story. So she has been unfazed all this time, and when she got to see him, it's like it would seem to me that she totally turned into the phased stage, and we're like the moment is there, you're face to face, and you don't know how to react because you're used to a machine. You're from the unfazed part to the phased part, and it's very complicated. I'm glad I didn't live those the moments that people are living now, these children, and even society. I know, for example, in Sweden, the rules have changed so much that children have become so empowered. Government policies and stuff. children are allowed to do whatever, pretty much whatever they want, if you know what I mean. So what's happening? I think, to start wrapping it up, I think that Dr. Ozit mentions, about the limiting the use of electronics, and again, that comes from home. I think that's what happened in last week with the suicide, of that 13-year-old kid. Um, I'm not trying to get back into it, but what I'm saying is that if parents in the future limit the use of technology to apply more family time and increase social skills, we might be able to see better changes in the future. And I think Henry Flowers also was aiming at that. It's all connected when it comes to work ethic and social skills. And again, it starts from home, and and after that, it has to do about limiting. I personally think Dr. Rosset is very right in mentioning this point regarding limiting the use. I know it's not easy. I'm not a parent yet. I don't know if I'm going to be, and if I am, I will try to work on this, thanks to this class and many other things we learn from. So those are my 2 points, and I hope to know and learn what you have to say about them. And thanks.